Get started. We gave a few minutes for the stragglers. Hopefully they'll join us soon. I might need someone to close the doors in case it gets loud in that downstairs hallway. We have a very unusual event for us here at Fellowship Bible Church this week. We have my friend Aaron is here with us.
Yeah.
And also my friend Seymour, who I work out with every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this guy in his 80s can do a dozen pull-ups. He's amazing. He's strong as can be. We call him Gristle. That's our nickname for him. He's tough. But Aaron's a tough guy too. And I've gotten to know Aaron over a number of years. And Aaron is a survivor from the Holocaust. And I'm not going to tell you his story. I'm going to let him tell you his story, and then if time permits, I'll have a few questions for you, but I've come to very much appreciate Aaron. Also, if you don't mind praying for him, in a couple of weeks he's going to have knee replacement, right?
Yeah, knee replacement, yeah.
So he just got back from Israel, although his time there he was sick and wasn't able to enjoy it too much.
Yeah, I was sick.
But Aaron, would you please tell our people about what happened in your life and how it has affected you and what it means to you.
Father, Pastor Mike, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. I will tell you, I'm not a storyteller. I'm not a speech maker. I'm a has-been plumber. But I'll tell you what I went through till I got the age 14. I was born in a little town. After the First World War, the Allies broke Europe up. Europe was one time controlled by Austrian-Hungarian King Franz Joseph, and the German Kaiser on the other side, and the Russian on the east side. Then they broke it up to each little countries, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and so on. So they took some territory away what was dominated by Hungary. When Hitler, he should burn where he is, started to push himself around. So there were some nations who sided with him. It was Italy, Hungary, Slovakia, and Norway. So he rewarded them. So he gave that territory back to Hungary. I remember I went to first grade school. That was Czechoslovakia. And I remember where we were singing a crying song after the president from the first Czechoslovakian Republic, Masaryk, died. And he was raised in America, and he wanted to push democracy there too, and he did. Was a very good man. Then I remember in 1939, I don't remember, I was born in 1931. We all had to go out to the main road to greet the Hungarian soldiers. Well, even then the soldiers got off the trucks and started to push us around. And I was born in a town. There was no sewer, no running water, no public bakery, no public store like you could buy. Dirt in the street when it rains. We had mud up to our knees. The chicken were running around. The geese went on the street. You have every morning the shepherd picked up all the cows or the water buffaloes and so on. And people were very poor. There was no industry. Most of people lived from the little ground, and the ground was not fertile, and had a cow and a half. They had milk. They went out on the street and sold it, but it was a poor area. There were some kids who could not walk out from fall till spring. You know why? They didn't have the shoes. People went out with patches on their clothes. That's the way it is. And we didn't have wooden floors. We had the earth. And on the earth, they used to take clay, mix it with manure, not all kind of manure, horse manure, and then they were able to make the floor level, and it looks half decent, but it's still, you take your shoes off. And it was a quiet life. People didn't know what's good, what's bad, and that's everybody struggled to make life. When an automobile came into a town, we all went looking at it. It was a novelty. See, we had no train yet, and we had a police department, and we had one Ukrainian doctor. If you wanted to die, you went to him. That's how good he was. And we had a post office, a telephone. If you had to make a telephone, you had to make an appointment and let them know to be in the other town, to go in the telephone booth to listen to the workout. So we're going to get back. So the Hungarian took that area over. Soon as they took the area over, they started to put decrees on the Jewish people. The first decree was, you have to produce a citizenship paper. There were some people who moved into their own area from Poland, because then it was one country. They lived there 50 years. But who had papers? You didn't have birth certificates. See, so the people who could prove they were born there, they gave them citizens' papers. The rest of them, they started to gather them and deport them. They deported them over the border to Poland. Today it's Ukraine. And we heard, the one who remained, that didn't get a big welcome. They slaughtered them out like birds. Very few remained. They were a very brutal people. It's a mixture of Polish and Ukrainian. There is something in the Slavic people. They have a certain animal feeling they enjoy killing. I don't know why. See, then this came in 1941. In 1942, they came in with another decree that all Jewish, there was how many? Over 6, 7 stores that sold flowers, that sold nails, must be open on Saturday. Us, Saturdays, the 7th day, we observe and no business. Well, people didn't know what to do, because, you know, religious people, mostly people who need help from God. Rich people have the bank. So if you're poor, you go and pray to God, because you hope maybe He'll listen to you and He'll give you something, a reward. That's natural. So everybody was religious. So the stores were automatically closed on Saturday. So you got to make a decision now. What do? You have the law says you got to have open, and one law says you can't do it. So you got to turn to the rabbi. So the rabbi decided you could leave the door open. That's it. And if somebody comes in, you don't sell them nothing. But the people lived in the mountains who kept buying stuff what they couldn't grow themselves knew already for generations that Saturday's no business. So nobody came. So, but they didn't like that because they lost. So they then put out another decree, all kids must go to school 6 days a week. Now we had two school systems. We had the one for the Gentile kids because they're Romanians, and you had the Jewish kids. Now the Jewish children had to learn Hungarian, and the Romanian learned in the Romanian language. So again, we had a problem. We, in the Judaism, we have 39 forms of work that you're not allowed to do on your day of Sabbath. One of them is writing. Well, you go to school, what do? You write. Well, they made an agreement with the authorities there that the girls will go Saturday to school, but they don't have to write. Well, after that went, they came out with something else. Jews can't have no stores. Well, so they took bread and butter away from all towns. Well, someone had apple orchards. Someone had 10, 12 cows. He milked them, made cheese. But the poor, again, got hit so hard. It's all the time the poor gets the whipping. So in 1940, and then afterwards, life went on in struggle. We had no radio, no telephone, no electricity, and no newspaper. Whatever we knew is rumors you heard. And some of the rumors we heard, but you wouldn't believe that they made soap from human beings. But I heard it when I was a kid. But we also get reports from the Judenrat. Judenrat was the authority organization from the Jews, and they had a place in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. Eichmann, who got hung in Israel, was ordering them what to do. They were not free to do. So they pushed out a rumor that they're taking us to work because the Hungarian man went to the war with the Germans fighting the Russians, therefore they're going to replace us. Now, they also drafted Jews. The difference was the Jews wear a yellow band in civilian clothes, and they were not in the regular army. They took them maybe to Ukraine to dig the trenches for the foxholes for the soldiers, but they were mistreated. They were mistreated. My father was also drafted. The first time when we walked him to the train, he didn't say nothing. But the second time, he cried. He never came back. Well, some of the people survived, and they said that he died from typhus. And they came and they threw him in a barn when the Russians pushed them out from Stalingrad. And then they lit the barn and burned those people alive. After that, they came with another decree. All the Jews got to go on this and this location next to the public school and bring something worthwhile. The police was there. You see, if you lived in a big city, you had a chance to mingle in, move from another neighbor, didn't know you're Jewish. Because you can't tell a person. But if you live in a small community, the police knows every person. You couldn't hide. Even so, we had some peasants were willing to hide us. But we figured it's almost the war is over and it's all over. It doesn't pay. we had to go there and register, and you take some belongings with you. And I think my mother took some silver candlesticks, and they gave me even a receipt for it. And from there, they loaded us up on horse and wagon, our own horse and own whole wagon, and took it to another town where they took all the religious Jews in there and made a ghetto. No food. You can't walk on the main street. And the Hungarian police, I think the paprika had something to do with it. It's very brutal. They, without any mercy. And we were there, and people are people. You get adjusted. And you know, what are you going to do? You can't do nothing. They got the guns. And the kids were playing soccer and everything. Then came another decree. We got a remote at the train station. At the train station, they had cattle cars with the little windows, and they pushed us in there without water, without facilities to normal people, and they locked it like cattle. We went in the first trip. I remember the train was going and came, and that was part of Hungary, until it came to Slovakian border. Slovakian border, they changed locomotives, and somebody else took us. It took 3 days. We went through the Tatra Mountains. The Tatra is the tallest mountain, second tallest mountain in Europe. Until we got a place, my aunt spoke a very good German, and they had their trains of German troops going there with artillery and all this. So she asked one of the officers, vielleicht wollen Sie uns geben etwas Wasser. Maybe you could give us a little water. We have old people. That guy was have these and answered, in 20 more minutes you will get water. And then I found out that is the city of Auschwitz, and their trains moved out to the east to fight the Russians. But then our train started out because the military convoys superseded everybody. We came in to a masonry building, got an arch, and on it was written, Arbeit macht das Leben frei. Work makes your life free. We went through that arch, and it split to 2 tracks. You could get 2 tracks of people. And this place was noisy. They had a band playing. Jewish people were playing the band, and it was loud. You could hear it probably Moscow. Then you had the German SS with the dogs, German Shepherd, and they were trained to recognize, and they barked. Then you had, and they holler, Raus. Raus means get out of the car. The train opening was done by Jews like myself. The only thing is, they bought false Canadian passports, Canadians. They were not allowed to talk to us, nothing. Right away, they were standing there, they sorted us out. You have left and right. They didn't want to kill the able bodies that they could use for labor. So the right was the adult who they want to use for labor. The left was women, children, and old people. I don't know. My older brother was a year older than I am, taller than I am. He was more civil. He stuck to his mother. I got lost. I wound up between the adults. So Mengele, that's the doctor, who selected who goes to the gas chamber and who goes to the holding tanks for labor. When he came a kid, he didn't want to disturb the assortment. The German have Ordnung. It got to run. He figured, I'm going to get you later. So I passed through, and I went with the working people. They took us to a place, we undressed. They gave us a shower. They shaved us if he had hair. And they sprayed it with some chemicals. Then they gave us the striped clothes and wooden shoes. Then they put you in barracks. That Birkenau had different camps, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, the only one in each camp, you had 2 lines of barracks. I think there was 10 barracks on each on one line. So in most camps, you had 20 barracks. The only one was a half was the A-Lager, the Camp A. And that camp was occupied then by families, gypsies. You could see through the wires because that's all separated, it's electric wires, but you could see through it. Kids was playing and around, the merry go around. And it didn't take long, all of a sudden they took all the adults, shipped them out to work, the young women, and they took care of the women and children that came at night and loaded them up and took them to the gas chamber. But with each transport, so many kids got by. So it got to a point that we had one barrack, all kids. Talking, we had bunks, three rows high, and each bunk was 8 kids. I would say he had a capo. A capo was who was in charge of us. So we got sick. Well, we got sick, so they were afraid they were going to catch typhus, and that is contagious. So the animal took us out from the C camp back to A camp. We were isolated in 3 different barracks, and I think we got a little better food. It had maybe in the soup, it had a couple pieces of cabbage. After 3 weeks, they realized we don't have typhus. They took us back to Camp C where we were. But it came to a point that he had to eliminate the umsüchtige Brautfresser. That means in German, the people who eat bread for nothing. That means someone who can't work. When industry came for working people, like the farm industry, or many of them, they didn't want to take any kids. They only take adults. So we accumulated, but he still didn't want to kill them all. He still figured maybe I'm going to get something out of them. But we were naive, and we didn't know. To go back a little bit, when I went through the formalities, we went to big camp. I was 13 years old. I cried, I want to go back to my mother. I walked around for 3 days. Nobody even turned around. Finally, on the 3rd day, I went out. One Jew, just like me, myself, an older man, turns around to me and points. Du siehst on the chimney from the crematorium, 20 foot above the chimney. This is where your mother is. I cursed them out. How could you believe there are people that take another human being and throw them in a, Well, with time I learned the truth. So we had too many kids. He didn't want to kill them all. Maybe he's still going to forget, because even Birkenau took the kids and went outside, and we carried sod on our shoulder to make the camps, the lager, pretty. So they put a rumor out that they don't want to kill nobody. They only want to take the weak children to a potato farm. Oh, it sounds so good. We can have plenty what to eat. Now, but for that you need a selection. So we had one barrack was the latrine. That was the bathroom. Behind that was open, and you could see the trains coming in with new people. They put up a frame, like a door frame, with the height, and you had to take your shirt off. If you reached a certain height, and you had some flesh on your rib, then you went right. If you didn't, you went left again. But don't forget, they were smart. They didn't use force, because with kids you can't use force. They start running. They don't think. I also went to the left side. But what happened, I got something, I don't want to go there. I don't know. I smuggled myself back to the right. Came after that selection. It was Yom Kippur Eve. The healthy boys went to their original barrack. The weaklings went to a separate barrack. And Yom Kippur, you are not supposed to eat. You fast for 26 hours. But the fast starts before sundown. When we got that piece of bread, the margarine mostly was sawdust. If you heard the wailing and the crying from us children, and I'm saying it anyhow. I shouldn't say it. If there's anything above, it should have caved in. Therefore, thousands of survivors don't believe in anything. How is it possible there's some above and see this happens to children? Some of us went back to the religion, some of them don't. And so it happened. Next morning they let us out. Every day you get 2 hours. You had to be out 5 o'clock. They counted you. And then again you had to go to the bathrooms. The kids in the weaklings barrack, the barracks were from wood, and you had cracks in it. We could talk to them. Okay. They already know they're going to be destroyed, because we all know that. We accepted, we had no choice, that sooner or later we're going to the gas chamber. So there was in my bunk 2 brothers. One of them was Mendel, one of them Alter. Alter was my age, I think. Alter was between the weaklings. When we went out, we went talking to them. So Alter was crying, "Me geht noch verbrennen, they're going to burn me to death." His older brother Mendel couldn't put up with it. He went over to the capo. The capo was in charge of it. Let my brother out and let me in. The capo had, if he lost a child or a human being dead, he had to bring a body. If not, they hung him. Mendel went in. Alter went out. Alter survived the war, and Mendel went up. And this happened 3 times. So let's say, finally they ran out of people. They couldn't get it. The last ghetto came in from Lodz, or Lichtenstadt, it was in German. These people were all skin and bones. Very few of them were saved for work. Came on an emergency, they needed 56 people to go up to Gleiwitz. That's a coal region. So they grabbed 56 strong children and take them to there. On the way out, they tattooed. You ever see a tattoo? Taking my shirt off. Just like they brand cattle in America. Didn't have a stroke. I fell. Oh, damn it. See this? I wasn't born with it. As a matter of fact, the Old Testament says, no tattoos on your body. I don't know why, but that's what they say. They branded us. We didn't have any names. You had a tattoo, and then you had a patch here with a number, and you had a yellow triangle, and in the middle it says U, Ungarn. It's meant Hungarian. They took us in a dump truck, and we had an old German. They ran out of young people. They took with a gun watching us. Took us to Gleiwitz. There was a camp, and it was dominated by the farm industry. It was a big company. It still exists. And they made different products. But us, they needed to work, manual work. They were building heavy industry yet. And when you build heavy industry, a building, 10-story tall, the footing got to go deeper until you get to original hard earth that it shouldn't sink. And they put up these factories that were making coke. So they didn't have the machinery no more because they had to move it to the front. So they made us kids dig. They made us step. You could make a shovel and throw up 5 foot. Then you had a level until we went down like that, 20 foot. Finally, it got cold, started to snow. We couldn't work no more outside. There was American soldiers there too. They were not able to talk to us, but they used to put a piece of bread down and we picked it up. They couldn't give us anything. So they didn't have what to do with us. But as you know, if you're ever involved in building, concrete cures takes a minimum 60 days. Till then, it's not strong enough to do the job. So therefore, they had all these buildings, and they were still green, the concrete. We had to go in the bottom. We had big wire buckets with holes in it and put coke and make sure that it heated from underneath. And that's what we did. But this was a half-decent camp, I will say that. They made us work, but they didn't beat the heck out of us. One time, I was in the camp, and in Europe we don't have cold storage like in America. You have cold storage, you dig a hole in the ground, put the potatoes in there or the carrots and covered it with hay, and then you build a dome on it. Well, I walked on the camp, I see one of them, and a guy pushes in and pulls out a carrot. I said, I'm not a second-hand citizen, I'll go and do the same thing. The Gestapo caught me. Boom. A big deal, it knocked me out. Then he marked my number down. So what did you do every night when we came back, we had an appel. You had to stay in line there in the Canada. And if somebody did something wrong, they called his number. Well, I knew already that I'll get a whipping. So cement bags, we have plenty. I put a lot of cement bags on my touche. They came and took it, but the paper makes noise. So I got a bonus, I got a little more. But they beat the heck out of me. Yep. And you're talking, it's a 13-year-old boy. Finally, it came, the Russians were getting closer and closer to the area. You could already hear the artillery. They had to move us. It was snowing like hell. It's coming down like tennis balls. And we were walking. Don't know where I'm walking. Came at night, they put us in a hay barn, pushed us in. In the mornings, they went around poking in the hay with their bayonet to make nobody there. And we walked again, it took 2 days. I remember only there was 10 railroad tracks. There was 10 railroad tracks means there's a lot of transportation going on there. But I found out later it was Katowice. Katowice was is major city. They loaded us up on these half cars, no roof, no nothing, and they pushed us in, about 200 people in that wagon. You had not only room to stand. You couldn't go down because there was no room. And the only food we had, snow from heaven. And you could live with water a lot longer without food. Yes, I'd have made one move, you should. But after 3-4 days, people start to collapse from standing. Once you fell down, you were dead. Somebody, you had no choice, they stepped on you. After 2 weeks, we had enough room to take a walk in that freight wagon. And the dead bodies, we took them and threw them overboard. And we traveled from camp to camp. They didn't have any room for us. When we traveled through Czechia, these people threw in bread. We all jumped to catch it. We tried to kill each other again. Finally, they landed us in Oranienburg. That's 20 kilometers from Berlin. We were there until we started to hear again artillery. They loaded us up again and took us deeper into Germany, Flossenburg. In Flossenburg, I remember we walked through the town, a beautiful European town. And the camp was on a mountain. And that actually was not a camp it was a jail for sadist murderers. And they pushed us in there. And you had some of them, they enjoyed killing. They used to catch me. See, I got 2 horns here. I wasn't born with it. They used to hit me on my head, and when I was bleeding, then they were happy. I was there, no food. No food. I was so skinny, I found a way to get into the garbage can from the SS. I got in there and I took from the trash out the bones and I left from the marrow. So then American troops came from the other side because the airplanes were there bombing. They took us, they had to move us again to another place. We went down through the town to the wagons, the open freight guys, and pushed us in. In the two corners he had, in the middle was the guards. The guards sat down, opened up their rucksacks, their backpack, took out some bread, some stinky cheese they have in Germany, and some liverwurst or bloodwurst, and they started to eat, and we were looking at it. But God does mysterious things in this world. All of a sudden, the American planes come, boom, 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 boom. They says run out like a lightning. Once they ran out, we ran out too. But I went back. After I finished my breakfast, I took a bread, I took a can of bloodwurst, and some cheese. And I don't know how I opened that can up, but I did. So another guy says, give me. So I said, yeah, go get it. So he threatened me. He's going to report me to the guard. Who cares? It doesn't matter. So report me. At least I'm going to have a good meal. Then everything quieted down. They reloaded us back. That kid did report me, but I wasn't stupid. I took my hat, turned it inside out, my jacket inside out, and went to another car. Is that him? He didn't recognize me. So I survived that. As soon as the train started to move again, Americans came back. This time they blew up the locomotive. So they had nothing they could do, just put out a march. That's what is called the Death March. We were walking in April. April showers, and you don't get no food. They were shooting people. We started at 7,000. Maybe 70 remained alive. They shoot you, knock you down. In Europe, you got on the little highways, you got a little gully where the rainwater goes in. I don't know where I got the strength, and I held up until the last minute. Finally, the last night, we came to an area, a little town, Ruding. And over there, they put us in a hay barn to sleep. And the Gestapo was sleeping on top, comfort. We were pressed in together like sardines. You know, and I lay on somebody else, and somebody lay on me. And the guy who I laid on kept pinching me. The only wet my head, I could cry. I woke up, that guard. He beat the heck out of me. In the morning, we again have to stand appel to check if you got the same amount. My head was blown up. I knew I'm finished because I can't walk no more. All of a sudden, I see the guard drops himself down on the floor. I didn't know. And he starts running, and there I see tanks with white stars. I didn't know what it is. So in the meantime, one woman was carrying out merchandise from her house where it got shot on. So I go over to her, give him the meat, that was brout. Give me some bread. She says, help me out, and I'll give you bread. I helped her out one trip, and then I saw where the bread is. I took care of it. Tied my pants down here, and the pants down, and put it all in there. I came out, I'm 14 years old. Just visualize you take a little poodle and drop him off in Camden. That little dog is going to be lost. I didn't know where to go, where not to go. Was an older fellow who also survived, took care of me. Took him with him. The American MPs came and they took us to the city of Schwandorf, and they gave us a room with a German family, and they put us on the rations. But they had a lot of war prisoners, Russian, and the Russians are wild, especially the infantry, because most of them are uneducated. They come from Asia, from Siberia. They go wild. As soon as they got their freedom, they started to rape and rob. Yeah, you can't lock them up. You lock them up, 5 minutes later comes the Red Cross. Then they popped up. They didn't came when we were in camp. And Roosevelt should also burn. He knew all about it. We didn't care because American planes went through Birkenau every day. They could have bombed the 2 crematoriums or bombed the tunnel. That would slow it down, but it wasn't important to them. It was only Jews. Okay, we are chosen people to be killed. So I wasn't that. The Russians made trouble. They set up, there was a bridge, and the Germans started to go back to where? Before they ran closer to Berlin. Now Berlin is occupied already. They started going home. On the bridge, they became the guards. If you saw a young kid, and he was in the Hitler Jugend, and the Youthman, they tied him up and threw him in the river, a lot of stuff. If one of the guards of our guards came back there too, and he put on civilian skirts and looked like I recognized him, they took care of him. So the American MPs couldn't control them. So they came one day with trucks, and they loaded us all up on their trucks. And they took us to Leipzig. Leipzig was under the Russian zone. No vandalism there. There is law and order there. You go where they tell you. If not, you get a bullet in your brains. They loaded us up on regular passenger train cars to go back to Russia. But the train couldn't go straight. It would take normally from there to go to Russia 3 days. It took 3 weeks. Because when we got to a major city, we had to be parked on a side and let the military convoys move. And the Russians were taking factories, dismantle them in Germany, and take them to Russia. And each time when we stopped, it used to take 3-4 days, and nobody gave us any food. Well, I was a little boy yet. I went down, and I begged, and I all the time got something. Then we got to the capital of Slovakia, Bratislava. Over there, we had a lot of Russian soldiers, and I will say something about their soldiers. They were very kind to older people or to kids. On young people, they were as brutal as the damn Arabs. Okay.
We only have a minute or two left. We only have a minute or two left.
What?
We only have 1 or 2 minutes left.
Okay, that's it. I'll make the end of it. From there, in Budapest already, we found plenty food. They had kitchens open, and it was nice and warm, and we slept in park. And from there, I went to my hometown, and I found nothing. And then after that, I was alone, so I floated around. During the summer, it wasn't bad, but in the winter. So there was an organization by the name The Joint. They went and collected all of kids and put us in a home. They gave us some bread and black coffee, and that was in Slovakia. The Slovakian people were not nice people. They tried to get in and kill us. The Joint had to move us. So they tried to get us a passport and move us to America. Well, we were too skinny. We had to be taken to get some weight. From there, we went to France, and the harbor, the Ile de France, was on strike. And in 1946, I got to America, and I had to start all over again. And there was no picnic either. They put me in what's her name, in what do you call it, where they take kids to raise them.
Orphanage?
Or not orphanage, individuals, families.
Foster home?
Foster homes. There were 2 boys, and they got paid for us, but they're supposed to send us to school. But they didn't send us to no school. They sent us out to plow the field, to milk the cows. And we had a caseworker coming, and we were afraid to say, because he threatened us, if you say something, I'll send you back. And we were idiots until I got of age 19. Age 19, I got a ticket to New York and $50. And then I had to start all over. Couldn't speak, couldn't read, couldn't do nothing. Whatever I know today, it's self-taught, the hard way. And let me end mine. And today, these cursed European countries are real liberal. They let in millions of these Arabs, and they're giving them already fruit. I mean, how can you compare it? A mother there who his kids blows himself up and kills somebody else with him, they celebrate. See, that's the people they got now. God doesn't come down with a stick when things happen. He lets us ride. When people forget about it, he must do justice. And justice will come on all this kid. And these Arabs are starting to give them problems now, and they're going to multiply. Because it's not my wording. There was a writer, Rodriguez in Spain, wrote an article. We killed 6 million Jews. Now we want to show the world we are liberal. We're letting 25 million Arabs in. We gave them school, housing, financial aid. What did we accomplish? Nothing. We killed the Jews who gave us commerce, gave us business, gave us music, gave us medicine. So the time came when you go to a doctor, the doctor gives you medicine, the medicine's no good, you stop using it. The time is that the world should realize that the Jew is not the problem. Something about him. And then maybe we'll have peace in this world. And God bless you all. And you should live a long life and a healthy life. You got a good man here.
Aaron, my heart breaks for what has happened to the Jewish people.
It breaks me every day.
I know it does.
As long as I'm busy. Soon I have time. It comes back, I still take the picture.
I know.
You never forget that. You're condemned for a lifetime. As long as I'm busy, nature has if you have something to do, you forget it. Soon as I have spare time, I'm in trouble. So what can you do? That's it.
We will pray for you, Aaron.
Huh?
We will pray for you. Do you still believe in God?
Yes, I do.
It's hard to wrestle with is it hard to wrestle with what's happened and that God is there?
Well, you see, when you lose a fight, you sit down and calm down. You sit down and calm down and start to think, who am I? I see all these giants who believe in God, who are so bright. Who the heck is an idiot like me not to believe in it? I don't understand him. I don't agree with him for what happened, but I can't go against the ocean. So that's why I do it.
I understand. We'll be praying for you, Aaron. We thank God for you.
I told you, every prayer helps.
Amen. Thank you for being with us today.
Okay.